Hi guys, Tracy here from Red Wind Studio. We're located in Cambridge, 645 King Street East. And today on our live, I am going to be putting a clear top coat on this vanity that I've been working on. I've posted a few pictures of it. So what has happened so far with the vanity is the top has been completely stripped down of the old finish. This is a new stain that has been put on it, and this is espresso. So there's 2 coats of espresso on this, and that's it for now. And the reason that I'm doing this before I paint out the body, I don't know if you can see, it's still dark. It has the original finish on it, and the reason for that is if I stain it or whatever I'm doing, obviously I don't want to paint this if I'm going to be stripping it. I might get stripper on it and ruin what I just painted. So I strip the top first, and I do all of the work on the top before I start painting the rest. The reason for that is if, say I decided to start painting it now, this is basically raw wood with just stain on it. If I accidentally hit it with my paintbrush with wet paint on it, that paint's gonna absorb in. It'll be really hard to get it off. So I wanna get the clear top coat on this first, and then I can go ahead and I can paint the rest of it out. If I accidentally drip or splatter or whatever, it's easy to clean up and correct that mistake. So I'm going to be using the Fat Paint Company's clear top coat. I know on here it shows up backwards on lives, but it can't be helped and can't do it any other way. So it is the clear top coat from the Fat Paint Company. When you use a matte, or they call it matte, but it's sort of in between a matte and a satin, the sheen on that, you want to stir it really, really, really well, and you don't want to work out of the can. So I have taken some of the clear top coat and I've put it into this little container. And to apply, I'm going to be using this little black foam brush. So the first thing I do is I've got my little container of water here, and I'm going to wet my foam brush. And that just makes sure that I don't get a line drawing on it. So I'll show you in a second here. So about halfway up the brush, because that's about where you're going to dip to. If you don't wet your brush, you're going to get a crusty line going across there, and your brushes aren't going to last as long. So if it's damp, that's going to help with the cleanup, and it's going to prevent that crusty line from happening. So the next thing I'm going to do, I've squished the brush out a bit, and I'm just going to take a paper towel and I'm going to remove a little bit more of the excess water out of there. So now it's damp, it's not sopping wet. With clear top coats, because this is raw stain that's on here, what is going to happen is when I dip in and I start brushing, some of the pigment is going to come back into the brush, and as I keep dipping back in and out of this container, I'm going to be depositing some of that color into here. That's why you don't want to do it right out of the can. You don't want to be depositing pigment back into the can, because then if you go to use it over something light or white, it's going to be muddied, and it's not going to be nice and clear like you want it to be. So I dip in. And the other thing is, this size brush won't fit into the can. So I dip in, I get a good amount on the brush, and I start in the middle, and I don't start right on the edge because I don't want it running over the edge. And I do nice long strokes. I can sort of sweep back and forth getting it on, and I want to work pretty quickly, and then nice long even strokes like that, and then again in the middle, and work back into what you already did. Nice long strokes. This dries pretty quick, so you want to make sure from this angle I can see where I've missed and where I haven't, so that's good. Again, in the middle, overlap a little bit, You don't want to overwork it. Once it starts to dry up, if you're still brushing it, you're going to get texture and streaky marks, and it's not going to be nice, and it's going to be really hard to fix that. So get it on quickly, smooth it out, and then leave it alone. Now, I still have a fair amount on my brush. Now is the time that I'm going to do my edges. So I'm going to set the container down, and really carefully I'm going to go around the edge, and I don't want to drag it up onto the top and redeposit on there. The nice thing about the foam brush, it will hug into those curves a bit. Make sure you don't have any gobs. Even though it looks white, it is going to dry clear. I'm going to come around to the front so I can get this side. And just like that, just around like that. Just like so. And then again in the curves. I've got a little fluff there. And then down to this end. Sorry about the back to you. Get this in here real quick. Now this is the first coat. I am going to do another coat of this on here. And then I will be doing a wet sanding. And a wet sanding is done with very, very, very fine sandpaper, 600 grit, and I'll literally wet the top of this, and I'll give it a very, very light sanding with the 600 grit, because right now what has happened is by stripping and restaining and putting the polyurethane on this with a clear top coat, it is going to raise the grain, and it's going to feel like a fine sandpaper. It's not going to be super smooth, and I want it to be super smooth. So by doing the wet sanding, that's going to smooth everything out, and then I'll put another coat or two of the clear top coat on it. And then the top will be done, and I'll be ready to go ahead and start painting the rest of this out. This will be able to be washed out and then reused again. So I'll clean it out real quick, and then it'll be ready for use when I go to do the second coat, which will probably be in a couple of hours. I'll let this dry up, and in about 2 hours I'll do the second coat on this. Now in the meantime, I don't know if I can turn the camera without it going too crazy wonky here. Let me get close here. I'm going to try turning it so you can see the other part that I was working on. Go like this. There we go. Okay. There, sorry. I can stabilize that a little bit. So this is the mirror, and this I've already started painting. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. The camera's kind of far away, but this is it here. Now this has just been sanded, and I've got Raven on it, and then the details, I don't know if you can see in the camera, the details are being painted out in cast iron. Now one of the other reasons that I chose to use the Fat Paint Company's clear top coat on this particular piece is all the painted parts are going to be waxed, and it's going to have a very slight sheen to it, and the Fat Paint Company's clear top coat pairs really, really well with the wax. So they're going to complement each other really nicely and give approximately the same sheen. So it'll look like the entire piece has been finished with the same top coat, when in actuality it hasn't. But that's everything for today in regards to this vanity. Pop back on here and watch the progress. Hopefully tomorrow the top will be completely done, and once I get a couple more coats of the poly on it, I'll start painting the rest of it out. But in the meantime, have a wonderful day, guys. If you have questions, if you have projects that you're going to be working on, certainly email me, drop me a line on Facebook through Messenger, or pop into the studio. Again, we're located at 645 King Street East here in Cambridge, the Preston section. I'm always eager to help you guys with any of your projects. Have a great day, guys.